So do you feel like doing collabs though are harder now since most stick to pre-existing friend groups? It makes sense, but rip the little guys. It was always like that. Like if we're just talking VTubing, the little guys were all in their little friend groups. The thing is, some of those friend groups grew by nature of people looking for VTubers to watch, and then they would find this one group and they just watch those friends. It was always in little friend groups. I don't think that's changed. And then some of those friend groups grew together. But a lot of the people that I'm currently friends with, we met when we were all smaller VTubers. One of the first people that I followed and who followed me back was Geary, and we were both at like no viewers. Okay, I've known her, I think I was at like 40 viewers and she was at like 20 or something like that, which is crazy to think about compared to now. But I remember finding her and she wasn't even doing her hand cam yet. We were talking about it and she was like, I think it'd be cool to do that. And I was like, you should totally do cooking. I love that. Okay, we talked about that way back then. So, you know, and now someone could look at us being friends and be like, oh, the people who are known are friends or whatever. But like, we both knew each other when we were like tiny in comparison to now, and then we both grew. That's just how it is. I think a lot of people are like that, you know. That's just how it is, man. That's just how it is. I have a lot of friends like that I've been friends with for a long time. So Geary's so cool, so fun. I love Geary. Hey, shout out to Geary. When I had my surgery and I was recovering from that, and I was just like, it was like my first day or two out of the hospital and stuff. One of the only people who reached out to me every day, regularly, other people reached out, but Geary messaged me every single day to like check in, just to check, just saying she's the best. They said there's an aspect of this where the people complaining about not being able to get into these quote-unquote pre-formed friend groups as only trying to break into friend groups of popular people, not like networking with others at their level, because there isn't much benefit to them. Might be too cynical saying that. No, I don't think you're too cynical, because I've seen it a lot and it feels bad. I've seen a lot of people like crash out on Twitter about like, oh, the big VTubers don't want to be my friend. But it will be like a person that I had just heard about the other week, because someone would be like, hey, if this person messages you, be careful. They're just like friending a lot of people that are like all have numbers and then just like spamming them for collabs. And I would see this pattern happen a lot. So, you know, and I'm not gonna say they're all like that, but I've seen that happen enough times and I'm like, okay, you know, okay. They just ask. Or like one that's tough for me, I never know how to handle it. Sometimes I'll see someone who I think is like interesting, or I liked like one post that they made, so I follow them on Twitter. I just think they seem cool. That's all. So I follow them and then they follow me and they like message and they're like, thank you so much for the follow, really means a lot. And I'm like, okay, nothing wrong with them saying that, but like anytime I see that, 9 times out of 10 I know where this is leading, and I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem, I liked your post about whatever, you know. And then they're like, thanks. And then the next day, hey, here's a link to my Discord server in case you ever want to hang out. Me and my friends hang out in here all the time and blah blah blah. And I'm like, they're not even doing anything wrong, so I don't want to react negatively to it, but they just like start shooting their shot instantly. And I don't really think there's anything wrong with shooting your shot. I'm never mad at them for doing it, but I don't know how to handle it sometimes, because I'm like, I just wanted to follow you on Twitter. Yeah, they're imposing a bit, and I'm like, how do you tell them, hey, I don't want to join this Discord? Like, I can barely keep up with my friends that I already have and value, and I would, I like can't, you know, like time-wise. It's different if I had all the time in the world, but I don't. So I'm like, you know, like, what do you say to it? It can be tough. So sometimes I'll be like, hey, I'll just say it straight up. I'll be like, I don't really have the time to be like sitting in VC hanging out, but I appreciate the offer. I'll say that. And I've seen people where I've said that to them, then post the next day and be like, no one wants to be my friend. And I'm like, you know, I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, because you have to reject it. You can't accept this every time it happens. You can't, you know, it's impossible. But I'm not trying to make someone feel bad. And even if I say it as nicely as I can think of saying it, people will still, yeah, I don't know. It's just setting a boundary. It's rough. I don't know what to say to these people sometimes. And then you see it and I'm like, I'm not going to bring this up now. Now it's dramatic. Ryuko said, I learned you can't collab with everyone because Jesus Christ. Oh man, I'm not even going to describe it. Ryuko had a moment. Yeah, no, you can't. Number one, you don't have the time. Number two, look, if you're streaming just to have fun and just to play games with friends and you are not in any way trying to grow, you do not care about your audience's entertainment level, you only care about yourself, then yes, collab with everyone, do whatever, try whatever. But if you care about the viewer experience, okay, then yeah, you can't collab with everyone. Some people, your chat is just, they're just not going to want to watch them. Some people, like, their communities just want a lot of completely solo streams. They just don't want a lot of collabs. Some of them do want a lot of collabs, but only with like people that are similar to them, similar types of entertainment, because they watch your streams stream because they find you entertaining, right? So if you bring on people that maybe you like, but they're like very different from you, sometimes it just doesn't land, you know? So it just doesn't always work out. And it doesn't mean you dislike that person. But if you care about your audience being entertained, sometimes you gotta like tailor it a bit, you know? And that is a really hard conversation. Like, how do you tell someone that? Hey, I really enjoy you. I'll play games with you off stream, but I can't bring you onto my stream because that shit just don't land, right? That sucks. That sucks. Because then you're essentially telling them my community doesn't find you entertaining. That's hard to tell somebody. But what do? Not say something and keep bringing them on? Just tell them, hey, I only want to play off stream and not explain why? You know? Yeah, sometimes you just don't have that on-stream chemistry. Like you have it like as friends off stream talking to them directly, but you don't have that like in an entertaining way, you know? That could be really, really, really tough to like navigate. Like what you do, I don't know. That sucks. That just sucks, you know? So it's one of those things that like, I don't know. And some communities are really resistant to it. Some communities are like, we're trying shit out. They don't care. They'll watch anything as long as you're in it. And other communities are like, I want this type of entertainment. And if I'm not getting this type of vibe, then I'm just going to go watch another stream, right? So it's like, sometimes you just don't have a community that will accept it, right? They don't mean poorly by it. It's just that they come there to get entertained, right? You're providing a service and the service isn't what they want right now. And that's, I don't know, that could be really tough. I feel like most people understand this, but then the people let their chance blind them too much. I think most people, if you say this to them, like you talk about it in a meta way like this, they're like, yeah, I completely get it. But yeah, when it happens to them, suddenly they like can't, they have a hard time dealing with it. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. I don't know. Like I just try dragging random friends on all the time. And look, I'm aware that I have certain friends that if I collab with them, people are not as into it as they are with other friends. I know there's a difference. There's certain people that when they show up, everyone's like, yay, clapping, and others where they're like, okay. And I'm like, whatever. You just have to like balance. You just have to balance. Thankfully, this community isn't too bad with it, you know? So I don't have to be like the worst hard ass about it or anything, but he said, hey girl, love your 45-minute bit about asparagus, but my community really isn't into vegetable-based comedy. We're gonna have to let you go from the collab list. It's vibe and joke type. It's just vibe and that's it, man. I think what this community doesn't do well with is when I bring someone on and their humor is just like, haha, I am so immature. Haha, I make bad choices because I'm a stupid idiot. Watch me make a stupid choice on screen. It's so funny. Please clap, right? When that's the type of like humor, this community is like, oh. Oh. I think that's the one thing that really does not hit here. Everything else is usually fine, but that, I don't know. It doesn't work here, I've noticed. And like, it can work a little bit, but when it's like only that is what I'm talking about, right? When it's only that and it's just like so strong, I've noticed you guys just straight up stop typing. And I feel bad. I'm like, oh no. I'm like subjecting them to this. I feel so bad, dude. Ooh, you said you hate when the banter's a little too familiar, like girl, we just started talking. Yeah, I don't like that either. I like meet someone and I bring them on for one collab and they're like, it's time, and they start popping off and I'm like, please. I don't know. So there's certain like groups I feel like I've sort of like become friends with and then really quickly just taken to them because I'm like, okay, we have a similar vibe. Not that we like act the same or our streams feel the same, but you can tell we're in like the same place in life, you know, shit like that. And then there are some groups of people where I'm like, I just don't think I can be here. I don't even hate these people ever. I'm just like, I just don't think I can be here, you know? You never understood the girl failure thing. It depends on how it's done. There's like a, oops, I'm so silly girl failure. And then there's the like, I'm gonna play with fire girl failure. You know what I mean? This is different kind of flavors. But, you know, and one, you guys are like, oh, she's just being silly. And then another, you guys are like, can she stop? You know? Like, I know you know what you're doing. Please stop. Different flavors. I think it's also easy to tell when it's like a little bit of a bit and you're just being funny versus when you're like, I must make this my everything. I'm putting on my stupid suit, you know? I think overall, like, if people like that, then people like that, right? I don't really see the issue there. It's just more so that certain groups of people will want to watch that and others won't, right? And then it makes it so that there will be some people that I genuinely enjoy, but if I try to do certain things with them, some people will get like kind of tired of the content quickly because they're like, I'm tired of this person being unable to press two buttons, you know, or whatever it is, right? It could be different. The other issue is when you vibe just fine with the streamer themselves, but it turns out the content type respective audiences are accustomed to has nearly no overlap. Yeah. That's happened a lot. I have a lot of people that I'm friends with, but we don't really stream together because we're just like, we content-wise don't have anything in common. And that's fine. That's just totally fine. You just talk to them outside of it, you know? Nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. I just think those are conversations people should be willing to have, and they should not feel like that directly is a representation of how much someone likes them as a person, you know? It's two different things.